Good afternoon YouTube, welcome back to the channel. You join me on a beautiful Thursday afternoon. Just finished work and I thought it was long overdue that I made a video on what exactly I think of the Yamaha FZ6. Avid watchers of the channel, which I know there are a few, will know that I picked this bike up in January, back in the depths of winter, in the freezing cold, from up near Liverpool. And I've spent the past few months getting to know it. So, is it any good? Well, in a word, yes. It's bloody fantastic. Now don't get me wrong, I loved my ER5 and I'll keep harking back to that for many years to come. But this thing is just on a completely different bloody level. As I suppose is always going to be the case. I rode it back from Runcorn, Liverpool, 210 miles, and if it hadn't have been for the fact that it was bloody freezing, I'd have done it in one stint. I only stopped the once to get a coffee and warm my hands up. The comfort on this thing is just incredible. I did that long journey in the freezing cold of winter. I had no backache, no arse ache, well, minimal. You know, it was just amazing. The seat's lovely and plush. The riding position is lovely. Power delivery is smooth. I couldn't really ask for it to be any better on that count, to be honest. It's also very frugal. It did the entire trip. So it was roughly 210 miles on one tank. Now don't get me wrong, it was screaming at me by the time we got back, but it did it. One tank of fuel. Which I think works out about 52 miles to the gallon, so I'm not complaining, not at that. Now, granted, most of it was motorway. Bit of twisty stuff either end, but even still, very good on fuel. Which bodes well for the upcoming trip. More on that later. I love the way it looks, the styling on it. I love the colour. This burnt orange is amazing. I love it. I'm not a fan of the silvers and the blacks and the dark colours. Not when it comes to bikes. They look good on cars, but when it comes to bikes I do like a nice bold colour. And this one, it does it for me. If I could have had it in green, I'd have it in green. Green being my favourite colour and all, but orange will do. Well, I mentioned power delivery. This thing has got around about the 100 brake horsepower, which if you've watched our earlier videos you'll know that I think that's probably the sweet spot for bikes. 100 brake horsepower. It's like having two bikes in one, I'll say that on this, for this machine. Below sort of 8,000 revs is quite tame, very manageable. So certainly if you're new to biking and you're looking at one of these, go for it, definitely. But do respect it, because above those 8,000 revs it goes all the way to 14,000. Above the 8,000 revs mark it bloody goes. Picks up its frock and runs. You're certainly going to run out of talent before it does if you're not respecting it, I'll tell you that, say that. So what have I done to it? In all honesty, not a lot. I've put a brand new set of Pirelli Angel STs on it because it was, believe it or not, running the original set of tyres, 13-year-old rubber. Made for quite a sketchy ride back in the ice, that's for sure. But no, I've done a full service, oil, filters, plugs. Haven't done the brake fluid because I haven't got around to it. I do need to get that done really. A couple of new side light bulbs, and I've stuck a top box on the back, but apart from that it's completely as it was, or completely as it left the factory as. And in all honesty, the only other thing I'd really consider doing to it in the near future is a new set of sprockets and a new chain. I really can't find fault with it. I suppose the only fault I can find with it really is when it's warm, when it's a hot day, it does kick out a hell of a lot of heat. I rode to work yesterday, back through the town, 30 degrees, I was being cooked slowly. But that's not really, you know, there's no lower fairing, that's to be expected. That's a minor thing. The bike does have a touring screen on it from Puig, which is quite a nice addition. I didn't put that on, that was on it when I got it. It does make a hell of a difference, I think, on the motorway, or at speed. But yeah, other than that, it's ready for the trip, this one. And speaking of the trip, we leave in 17 days? 18 days? 17 days. 14th of July we go. I know Jordan touched on it in his last video. We've got just over 2 weeks to go. We are both incredibly excited. So the plan is we're going to leave about midday from home, up to Folkestone on the boat, across to France, down to Belgium for some lunch, then on to our first stop, which is the Nürburgring. We've got a couple of days there. Hopefully it's dry so we can do a few laps. And we've tried to keep the route as bare as possible, so we've got a bare bones route, should we say, which I'll put on the screen. And it is just that, it's just a route with nothing really planned along the right way. We want to keep it as toury as possible. We want to explore as much as we can in the time we've got. We've only really got a week, well, we've got less than a week. We've got to be home within the week. So yeah, we're kind of looking forward to just getting up in the morning and getting on the bikes and going, and not having a sat-nav guide as to where we're going. So yeah, it should be really good fun. I'm going to try and get as many videos done as possible and upload as much as we can along the way. But back to the FZ6, I've absolutely fallen in love with it, there's no two ways about it. It's comfortable, it's got enough power, it looks good, it's frugal on the juice. If you're in the market for your first bike, for a new bike, definitely go out and look at one. Get on one, give it a go, I'm sure you'll love it. Maintenance wise as well, as far as I can tell, they are fairly robust, fairly bulletproof, so long as you keep up together with the servicing. I suppose it's like anything nowadays really, there's not really, when it comes to bikes and cars nowadays, there really isn't a thing as an unreliable car or an unreliable bike. There might be the few, you know, the odd lemon out there. I think you'd have to be fairly unlucky to get one of those. If you do your research and all the paperwork's there, there's no reason to suggest anything you buy really now is going to be anything other than reliable. It's more down to choice and what you prefer and what you like the look of. So I used to have the predecessor, I believe it's the predecessor to this bike, the FZ6 phaser in gold. And I love that as well. You know, it's very much, I suppose getting on this bike is very much like going out with an old friend. You know, I kind of knew what I was getting. It's just an updated version of it. That's probably why I'm so comfortable with it. it's just so manageable. I mean, you can chuck it about, it's lightweight, it likes to be revved. As I say, you'll lose your license or end up in hospital if you don't respect it. It can bloody go, I tell you. As I say, at the same time, if you just want to bimble around town, it will do it all day long. So future plans for the bike, do I plan on doing anything to it? Not really, to be honest. I as you know, I did a hell of a lot to the ER5, stripped it right back and rebuilt the thing. What I wanted from this really is just to have a bike that I could just enjoy, rather than, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy working on them, but it's nice just to have something that I can just, oh, I fancy going out for a ride. I can just get on it and go. It's fuel injected, I know it's going to start every time. There's no faffing around with a choke, especially on the colder mornings, because I do like to ride when it's, you know, not necessarily when it's torrenting with rain, but certainly when it's cold I'll go out for a ride if I've got free time. So yeah, it's just nice to have something that I know is going to be reliable. It's smooth, the power delivery's there. I'm waffling on now. And I can do a lot of miles on. As I say, this trip we're going on in a couple of weeks is the first of hopefully many. But we'll see how it goes. We're very much, it's the first bike trip we've done, so we're very much in uncharted territory. I should actually say, if anyone's got any tips or recommendations for places we can go in and around the Nürburgring or a bit further afield in Germany, or Amsterdam, the Netherlands, we're going up there as well on the second half of the trip. Let us know in the comments below, because we're open to ideas. We're certainly open to ideas. A lot of bikers out today, making the most of the British summer. The old tank bag there, that's another thing I've done. Quad lock for the phone, and a Givey tank bag for all my bits and pieces on the trip. Always handy to have. So that is essentially what I love about my FZ6. Comfortable, frugal, reliable, it looks good. I just love it, and the power's there, you know, what's not to love. It is a bike I plan on keeping for a very long time, and given the mileage is so low, what, 5,244 miles, it's got a good few years in it yet. But yeah, that's me for today. I'm just hitting the M5 on the way home, so I will see you in the next video. Bye.